Moses decided, I must go over to look at this remarkable sight and see why the bush is not burned. When the Lord saw him coming over to look at it more closely, God called out to him from the bush. Moses, Moses, he answered, Here I am. God said, Come no near. Remove the sandals from your feet, for the place where you stand is holy ground. Come no nearer. Remove the sandals from your feet, for the place where you stand is holy ground. Now, we live in a culture where, on the whole, typically, every spot, every place is as good as every other place. Every place is just as good as every other place, for the most part. And so, when we come to this place where we hear about this revelation, it's kind of shocking. What gives us so much hope, though, is that God meets Moses in the midst of his everyday life, in the midst of his work. Now, Moses is working. Moses is at his office, so to speak. It's just outside. He's on the job. And God meets him there. And that gives you and me so much hope. Because perhaps we can start to think like, I can't meet God at work. I only can meet God when I'm at church or something. And you might say, well, I mean, it's easy for you. You're a priest. My work is in church, so to speak. But even when I was studying to be a priest and I was doing temp work or something, I would try at least. I would take time to pray on my breaks. And why not you? Why not you? We get a couple 15-minute breaks. We get a lunch break. Definitely take time to stretch, use the restroom, talk with a coworker. But then why not even just a few minutes of prayer on a break? On your lunch break, yes, definitely. Talk to your coworkers, go for a walk, get some lunch, text your spouse. But then why not? Why not just have a few minutes where you meet God at work? Moses, he encounters God at work. And it's really kind of in the ordinary, every day, he sees this bush, and this bush is on fire. But it's like every other bush in some sense, except just this one thing is different. What makes one place different than another? What makes one place sacred? It's because of what happens there. It's because of who's there. So Moses sees this bush, and it's on fire, but it's not being consumed, and he's attracted by it. You and I would be attracted by something like that as well, too. And he comes up to this bush, and then God says this very interesting thing to him. He says, take your sandals off. Take your sandals off. Why? I really like the movie The Sandlot. It's a great movie. And near the end of the movie, to overcome this beast, they go to the ultimate extreme and they get PF Flyer shoes. They get PF Flyer shoes, guaranteed to make anyone who wears them run faster and jump higher. So you can outdo the beast, right? And that's what shoes do. We're in a culture, we understand this. We just take shoes for granted. Like a good pair of shoes, something on your feet, you can run. You can jump. You can walk on difficult terrain. You can even walk on sharp things if you have good enough shoes. But if you take your shoes off, I'm a wimp. I'm a wimp. When I take my shoes off, I'm like just so carefully stepping, so carefully watching my feet. You just got to be so much more cautious. You have to be more cautious when you're barefoot. You have to be more careful. You have to be more intentional, more thoughtful. And isn't when we go barefoot, isn't it kind of being childlike? I mean, when the grass is wet, the dew's on the grass, it's summer, we're almost there. We're almost there, okay? When the grass is wet, the dew on the grass, you take off your shoes and you just feel like a little kid again, running barefoot. And so here's Moses meeting God. And God says to him, take your sandals off. So he takes his sandals off, and he has to be more careful, more thoughtful, childlike. He has to be childlike in the presence of God. You know, you and I, when we're in this culture that says, every place is just like everybody else. Culturally speaking, typically what happens in a culture is this. We swing from one extreme to another. One extreme to another. Perhaps in American culture, at one point, we were overly formal. We were too formal. And so someone saying to that culture says, hey, maybe we should lighten up just a little bit. And perhaps people thought they were liberal. Now, we've gone to like the other extreme. We live in a super casual culture. And if someone says, hey, maybe we should just like dress up a little bit. Maybe we should just be like a little bit more formal. You can come off as rigid and conservative. But is every place like every other place? What makes it different? It's what happens there. It's who's there. Moses, he saw this bush, but God was there, so it was different. You know, those are bricks. Those are just like ordinary bricks. That's wood. Last Mass, I actually didn't know what this was, so I just said it was like a laminate, and 3 people after Mass told me what it was. It's like terrazzo or something. Okay, so this is ordinary terrazzo, okay? All right. That's stone. But what happens here? What happens right here? And who's here? Who's here? That makes this place different. That makes this place sacred. And so figuratively speaking, you and I, we take our shoes off when we come into this place. Keep your shoes on, okay? Okay. Especially if you haven't done laundry. Keep your shoes. You and I, though, in this place, figuratively, we take our shoes off. We're more careful, thoughtful, intentional, not overconfident, childlike. We're childlike in this place. Because here, we meet God. Moses, he sees this ordinary bush, but something's different. God's there, and he speaks to him his holy name. I am who am. I am who am. Anybody who's ever studied philosophy knows just how deep that is. I am. And what's so amazing is, this is like way before Aristotle, way before Plato, way before Socrates. It's coming from God meeting him in a bush, this incredible revelation that God is. God is. And here in this place, you meet that God. You meet that God. You know, it's so, I just want to speak kind of personally here. You know, I'm a young person, and I look younger than I am. And if you look at people my age or younger, we're like totally the minority. We're like totally the minority for coming to this place. And I just hate it. And I don't know how to change it. But if you look at like the 99% of other people my age or younger not coming to this place, what do you see? If I can say this so tenderly, so respectfully, anxiety. If there's like one thing that my age group and younger struggles from, it seems, it's anxiety, meaninglessness, purposelessness, feeling like you have to create your own life, feeling like you have to find meaning, feeling like you have to constantly prove yourself. And my creating St. Peter's Young Adults is just like my little offering to try to meet you and help you meet this God who you meet in this place. Because when you meet this God in this place, you discover you don't have to create your life. He made you. And he has a plan for you. And when you follow his plan, there's deep meaning, deep satisfaction, deep peace. And I want that for all of you, young and not so young. And to do that, we come to this place with ordinary bricks, ordinary wood, ordinary terrazzo. But it's different because something happens here and someone is present. And he is, I am who am.